The great chamber of the Galactic Council was silent when the first screen lit up. Dozens of alien leaders stared at the glowing images, each showing something they wished they had never seen. Human ships. Human cities. Human inventions. Human victories. Every year, humanity was becoming stronger, smarter, and faster. The council members sat around a long shining table. Their faces were tense, their eyes full of worry. No one wanted to speak first. They all felt the same fear, but none of them wished to admit it. Humanity, a young species, was rising too fast. Too powerful. Too unpredictable. At last, Councillor Varkel stood up. His voice was low, almost shaking. "Look at them," he said, pointing at the screens. "Humans grow stronger every year. They do not stop. They do not slow down. If we wait longer, they will surpass us all." His words carried across the chamber like cold wind. Another council member, Elder Romin, hissed softly. "Humans were supposed to stay small. They were supposed to fear us. Yet they expand even when we warn them. They build even when we block them. They fight even when they know they should lose." A different screen switched on, showing a map of the galaxy. Human colonies were spreading like small bright lights. Each one glowing stronger than before. "Their spirit is the problem," an elder whispered. "Humans rise after every failure. We strike, they stand again. We block them, they find a new path. We threaten them, they become fearless." The chamber fell into heavy silence again. Then the doors burst open. A messenger rushed inside, breathless. "Council," he cried. "We have emergency news. A human exploration ship has crossed into our restricted borders. They claim it was a navigation error." The room exploded. Everyone spoke at the same time. Some shouted for immediate retaliation. Others demanded investigation. A few wanted peace. But one thing was clear to all of them: humanity was no longer afraid. Councillor Varkel slammed his fist on the table. "This is not a mistake," he said sharply. "This is the beginning. Humans are testing us. They want to see how far we will allow them to go. And if we do nothing today, we may never stop them again." His words hit the other council members like heavy stones. Slowly, with fear shaping their decisions, they made a choice. "The council will attack," the leader announced. "We strike before they rise too high. We strike before it is too late." And with that one decision, a spark turned into a storm. Far from the council's chamber, in a small human outpost called Vega 12, Commander Rian Hale watched the stars through a clear glass window. He was calm at first, but something bothered him. A strange movement among distant lights. Shadows shifting where no shadows should be. His eyes narrowed. "That is too many ships," he whispered. Rian walked quickly to the command deck. His team looked up as he entered. "Open the long-range scanners," he ordered. "I need to see something." The screens blinked, then began to show the shapes of alien warships. Big ones. Fast ones. Moving directly toward human space. "Sir," one officer said with fear in her voice, "that is a council fleet." "Why are they heading here?" Rian knew the answer deep inside, but he did not want to believe it. "Send a message to Earth," he said firmly. "Tell them the council is preparing for something." The crew nodded and transmitted the warning. But Earth headquarters responded quickly and calmly. "Commander Rian, do not overreact. The council would never risk a war. Continue observation only." Rian's heart sank. They did not see what he saw. They did not feel the danger rising. Hours later, alarms began to scream across the outpost. The scanners turned red. Lights flashed. Every officer froze. "Incoming attack," someone shouted. Outside, the dark space lit up with deadly blue fire. Council warships launched the first strike. Explosions shook the outpost. Walls cracked. Families ran through the hallways, children crying, people screaming for help. Rian grabbed his weapon and shouted to his team, "Protect the civilians. Move them to the lower hangars." But as they moved, another blast rocked the station. The floor shook so hard that people fell. Smoke spread. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Rian looked out of the damaged window. The sky of space burned with light. Warships filled the stars. Humanity was under attack. And he understood one truth clearly. The Council feared humanity's rise, and now they wanted to crush it completely. But Rian also knew something else. Something the Council had forgotten. Humans never fall quietly. They rise stronger every time. And this time, they would rise in a way the galaxy would never forget. Smoke filled the halls of Outpost Vega 12 as Commander Rian guided civilians into evacuation pods. The walls trembled with each hit from the Council's warships. People cried, families held onto each other, and officers struggled to stay calm. Everyone could feel it, this was not just an attack. This was an attempt to erase humanity's future. Rian shouted orders as flames spread through the corridor. Keep moving. Do not stop. Stay together. A young girl clung to her mother, tears falling down her face. Rian knelt beside her. "You are safe," he said softly. "I promise." His gentle voice gave them strength. They moved again, rushing toward the pods. The ground shook under their feet as another blast tore through the upper decks. Pieces of metal fell like rain. Officers used their bodies to shield the civilians. Every moment felt like the last. Within minutes, half the outpost was destroyed. The Council did not show mercy. Their warships circled above like hungry predators, firing again and again. At last, the evacuation pods launched. One after another, they shot out into space like small silver birds, carrying survivors toward a nearby human colony. Rian watched them fly, praying they would not be targeted. When the final pod left, only soldiers remained. The outpost was dying. The lights flickered, and the oxygen levels dropped. Rian looked at his team, tired, bruised, covered in dust, but still standing. "Fall back to the secondary hangar," he said. "We are leaving too." But just as they began moving, a massive explosion ripped through the main corridor. The blast threw everyone off their feet. Rian hit the floor hard, his ears ringing, his vision blurry. Through the smoke, he saw something terrifying, a Council boarding team entering the damaged hall, weapons ready. Rian forced himself to stand. His soldiers formed a line beside him. They did not speak. They did not run. They simply prepared to fight. The first shots echoed through the dark corridor. Bright flashes of red and blue filled the air. Humans fired back with everything they had. The battle was messy, loud, and brutal. Smoke burned their lungs. The heat scorched their armor. But they did not step back. Rian charged forward, pushing through fear and pain. He fired, moved, protected his team with instinct and stubborn courage. The Council soldiers were strong, but humans fought harder. Within minutes, the boarding team retreated, leaving their injured behind. Rian's chest heaved from exhaustion. His team looked at him with wide eyes. "We cannot win this battle," one soldier whispered. "We do not need to win," Rian answered. "We only need to survive." They ran to the secondary hangar and boarded an old transport ship that had barely been used in years. The engines roared weakly as the ship pulled away from the dying outpost. Flames consumed Vega 12 behind them, turning the once busy station into burning pieces of metal drifting through space. Rian stared at the destruction with clenched fists. "We warned Earth," he said softly. "But they did not listen. Now the Council thinks we are broken." His second-in-command looked at him. Are we? Rian turned his eyes toward the distant lights of Earth. No, he said firmly. Humans never break. We bend, then rise stronger. Back on Earth, the leaders watched the destruction reports with shock. The Council's strike had hit multiple colonies. Thousands were dead. Human cities across distant worlds were in ruins. Panic spread across the population. But something else spread too, anger. People who were once afraid now stood in long lines to volunteer. Engineers worked double shifts. Pilots trained without sleep. Every citizen felt the same fire burning inside them. They wanted to defend their species. They wanted to fight back. The president of Earth Alliance stepped forward during an emergency broadcast. Humanity has been attacked without warning, she said. The Council believes we will fall. They believe we will surrender. But they have forgotten who we are. Her voice trembled, not with fear. With strength. We rise. Every time. And now, we rise together. Across Earth, old military projects were unlocked. Hidden research files were opened. Secret hangars revealed powerful experimental ships. Among them was the one project the Council had always feared. Project Phoenix, a fleet built for the worst day in human history. That day had finally come. Rian arrived back at Earth just in time to see the Phoenix ships rising from underground bays, their engines glowing like burning suns. The sight left him speechless. Hope returned to his eyes. If the Council wanted to fear us, he whispered, then they will learn what fear truly feels like. And with that, humanity's unstoppable rise began. The Phoenix fleet rose from Earth like a new dawn. Hundreds of warships, each shining with silver armor and glowing engines, filled the sky as people watched from below. Children pointed, adults cried, and soldiers stood in silence. Humanity had been pushed to the edge, but instead of falling, they had awakened something powerful, something the galaxy had never seen before. Commander Rian Hale stepped onto the bridge of the Phoenix flagship, Soulfire. The moment he entered, officers stood straighter. They had heard the stories, how he saved civilians at Vega 12, how he fought even when the outpost fell. To them, he was proof that humanity was still alive. Still strong. Still rising. Rian looked at the huge screen in front of him. It showed the Council's invasion line stretching far across the stars, cold, deadly, and confident. Begin engine warm-up, he ordered. His voice was calm, but every officer could feel the tension behind it. Yes, Commander. The hum of the engines filled the bridge. Lights flickered gently. The entire ship seemed to breathe. Rian took a deep breath. Today, he said quietly, we show them what humans become when they are pushed too far. Far across the galaxy, the Council leaders gathered again. Their faces were twisted with confusion. How did humans rebuild so fast? Impossible. They should be hiding, not preparing a counterattack. They are a young species. They cannot. Stop lying to yourself, Elder Romin snapped. Humans rise after every defeat. We should have destroyed them completely. Before anyone could respond, a loud alarm rang inside the Council chamber. A hologram appeared, shaking with static. Council. Emergency. A massive human fleet has entered Sector 9. We are losing ships, fast. Silence fell. Fear spread across the room like cold fire. Meanwhile, the Phoenix fleet entered the battlefield, and the stars lit up. The first Council ships moved in, firing powerful blue beams. But this time, humans did not retreat. Soulfire dodged with unbelievable speed, slipping through enemy fire as if it danced with the blasts. Target enemy flagship. Rian commanded. Human ships formed a line behind Soulfire, moving together like a single unstoppable force. Their weapons charged. The ship shook slightly as the cannons fired bright red beams that cut across space like burning arrows. Direct hit. The enemy flagship exploded in a flash of white light. The Council fleets panicked. Hundreds of alien ships turned to retreat, but the Phoenix fleet pressed forward. Human pilots fought with something alien species had never understood: emotion. They fought for lost families, destroyed homes, and fallen friends. Their pain had turned into fuel. One officer on Soulfire whispered, "They destroyed our worlds, and now they are afraid of us." Rian heard her and nodded. Fear is something they taught us first. The Phoenix fleet pushed deeper into enemy territory. Human warships flew through enemy lines like flaming arrows, each movement sharp and full of purpose. The Council soldiers tried everything: ambushes, traps, even mass bombardments, but nothing worked. Humans simply refused to fall again. Inside the Council chamber, panic grew. Their ships are too fast. Their weapons are stronger. We underestimated their technology. No, Varkel said slowly, his voice breaking. We underestimated their hearts. He stood up, trembling. Send a request for negotiation. If we continue this war, we will lose everything. But the messenger returned with a pale face. Counselor. Humanity rejected the request. The room froze. What did they say? They sent only one message, the messenger whispered. Let the galaxy witness our rise. Back near the front line, the Phoenix fleet surrounded the last major Council defense ring. A thick wall of alien ships floated ahead, ready for one final stand. Rian stood at the center of the bridge. Open channel, he said. His voice echoed across space, reaching every enemy ship. You attacked our homes. You killed our people. You believed fear would control us. He paused. But fear does not break humans. It creates strength. His final words cut through the silent battlefield. Humanity rises today, and nothing can stop us. He lowered his hand. Fire. The Phoenix fleet unleashed a storm of red and gold energy. Council ships burst apart one after another. Their defensive wall collapsed. Their lines shattered. Their pride dissolved. When the smoke cleared, humans stood victorious. Rian looked out at the broken battlefield. This is not revenge, he whispered. This is survival. But deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. Humanity was rising, fast. And now, the Council had no idea how high humans could climb. The battlefield was quiet after the final blast faded. Burning pieces of metal drifted through space like falling embers. The Council fleets, once feared across the galaxy, now floated in shattered pieces. The Phoenix fleet held position, engines glowing softly, waiting for the next command. Commander Rian Hale stood on the bridge of the Soulfire, looking at the screen that showed the defeated Council border. His crew watched him silently. They knew what this moment meant. Humanity was no longer the hunted. Humanity was no longer weak. Humanity had become a force that the galaxy could not ignore. Rian turned to his officers. Prepare the jump to the Council's capital world. No one questioned him. The orders spread through the ship instantly. Engineers rushed to energize the jump cores. Pilots confirmed formation. The crew felt both fear and pride, but they trusted him completely. Within minutes, bright rings of light opened in front of the Phoenix fleet. One by one, the ships disappeared into the glowing portals. Across the galaxy, the Council capital world, Zealer Prime, shook with fear. Alarms screamed. Citizens ran through the streets. Soldiers raced to defensive towers. Everyone had heard the news. Humanity was coming. Not as victims. Not as refugees. But as an unstoppable rising force. Inside the Council chamber, chaos filled the room. Leaders shouted, trembling, unable to agree on anything. You promised humans would break. They were supposed to surrender. We were wrong. We should have never attacked them. Varkel slammed his hands on the table. His voice cracked. We feared their rise, but we created it. Our attack made them stronger, faster, united. What do we do now? No one answered. There was nothing left to say. Moments later, the sky above Zealer Prime split open. Hundreds of human warships appeared, descending like a storm made of steel and fire. Their engines roared across the sky, shaking the ground. Citizens froze and watched in awe. They had seen alien fleets all their lives, but nothing like this. Human ships looked alive. Determined. Ready. Soulfire led the formation, glowing like a burning sun. Rian stood at the front of the bridge, eyes sharp, heart steady. Do we attack them? An officer asked softly. Rian shook his head. No. We give them a choice first. The ship's external speakers activated. Rian's message echoed across the capital, every street, every tower, every home. Council of Zealer Prime. You attacked us without mercy. You tried to destroy our future. But humans do not fall. We rise. The entire planet listened in silence. You feared our strength. You feared our progress. But your fear pushed us to become something greater. Something you cannot control. Something you cannot defeat. Rian paused. Then his voice softened. But humanity does not want endless war. We do not want galaxies to burn. So here is your choice. Fight and fall, or stand with us and enter a new future. The council chamber shook as the last words echoed. Some leaders cried. Others stared at the floor. They knew it was over. Not because humans were stronger. But because humans were unbreakable. Counselor Varkel slowly stood. We surrender, he said softly. We accept humanity's leadership. The other council members followed him, lowering their heads. Their flags fell. Humanity's banner rose. The war ended not with the destruction of worlds, but with the rise of a new era. Rian watched from Soulfire as the council building projected a new signal. A sign of peace, unity, and respect. His crew cheered behind him. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Commander, we did it, one officer whispered. Rian smiled slowly. No, he replied. Humanity did it. Together. He stepped toward the window and looked out at the stars. They no longer felt distant or unreachable. They felt open, waiting for the next chapter of human history. Set course for Earth, he said. We go home. The Phoenix fleet turned, engines glowing brighter than ever, as they began the journey back. Across the galaxy, species watched humanity with new eyes, not as a threat, and not as prey. But as the rising power that had changed everything. And in the quiet of his heart, Rian knew one truth that would echo for generations. When humanity is forced into darkness, it does not remain there. It rises, stronger, brighter, unstoppable. And the galaxy will never forget it.